Welcome to the 2017-18 school year. There's been some changes for 7th and 8th grade, and I wanted to show you and kind of walk you through some of the changes that have been made and where you can find that information on Canvas. So if you can go into Canvas, you'll be looking at your dashboard. If you're not part of the middle school science class, it probably isn't showing up on your dashboard, or if you haven't made it a favorite. So if it doesn't show up here, and it'll look like this, on here. If it doesn't look like that, then what you'll want to do is click on courses over on the left hand side. You'll be able to see a list of all your courses. If it doesn't show up, this middle school science course, then what you'll do is you'll come down here to all courses. And then you'll find it from the list in here. And then you'll want to make sure that next to the title, that you've clicked the star next to the title. Once you've done that, now it's in your courses menu, and now it'll show up on your dashboard. So it's a little bit easier to find every time. So we're going to go ahead and into the middle school science course. And I've changed the formatting a little bit of it, if you remember it from last year. And I want to walk through a few of the tabs that are on here that'll be helpful information for you. So something that's new is the assessment calendar is posted here in Canvas for you. You'll be able to look at your specific grade level test by scrolling down on this Google document. If you get a notification that you do not have access to the document or you don't have permission for it, what that means is that you're not signed in to your DVUSD Google account, and you'll need to go and make sure that you are signed in. Please do not ask me for permission. Don't send that ask for permission one. Please make sure that you go ahead and sign in. You'll scroll down just a little bit and you'll see that here are the 7th and 8th grade assessment windows, and I'll talk about those a little bit more in the grade level specific video. The next thing we're going to look at is the PD calendar. There's more professional development that's required for middle school than there has been in a very long time. And so I want to make sure that everyone has one location where they can find all of those dates. Once again, you're going to need to make sure that you're logged into your Google account. Down here on the bottom, you'll want to click on the middle school tab to make sure that you're looking at the correct grade levels. If you were not present at one of these two Discovery Education sessions or the one that was provided by me, during the makeup time, you'll need to come to our professional development on August 16th from 4 to 5:30 at purchasing. This is a required makeup session. You will be paid for attending, but I do need you to come so that you know how to access your resources and kind of get a quick walkthrough of how to use those resources. This month we actually have quite a few trainings. We have our Gizmos training. This Gizmo training is only for teachers who were not part of my grant program last year. So if you've never been trained in Deer Valley on using Gizmos, then you need to come to this training. If you were in the cohort last year, you were part of that grant, you do not need to come to this training on August 23rd. You'll notice that it's a half-day training, so what I really want is I'd like 7th grade to come in the morning and 8th grade in the afternoon, but even more important than that is that we need to pair up teachers on your campus. So if you have 2 8th grade teachers that were already in the grant and already have come to this training last year, and you have 2 7th grade teachers who didn't, please send 1 7th grade teacher in the morning and 1 in the afternoon so we can utilize that sub all day long and pay for fewer subs. When you put in for that substitute, the person who will be coming to the morning session will put in for a full day sub, and the person coming in the afternoon session will still put in the system, but they'll put in as no sub required, and then that substitute will move from the morning person's classroom to the afternoon person's classroom. And you need to make sure that you speak with your sub coordinator on your campus so they understand what's going on. The district is paying for the substitutes, but we want to make sure that we're utilizing our funding in the most efficient way possible, and that is to use that same substitute both days. If you have 1 person coming in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, please do not put in for 2 half-day substitutes. We need to put in for the 1 full day and then the other person putting in for no sub required. The next sessions that you'll see are for Discovery Education. These are required for everyone. So even if you came to the first set of sessions that were in the pre-service time, this is the next session. This is the next step. With Discovery Education, they're going to be teaching us about new things that we didn't learn about in the first session. So everyone will be coming to this. Once again, I'd like 7th grade to come in the morning, 8th grade to come in the afternoon. We'll do the same thing with the sharing of the substitutes. Over here on the side, you'll see there's special directions about when you should be putting in for your time, so that you make sure that you have enough time to travel back and forth from your campus to purchasing. On the days where, for example, this November 3rd, that's our regular half day, and you'll be coming on that regular half day part to me. Anytime on those half days that you're going to be staying later than what your normal duty day is, you will be paid for the additional hour that you're asked to stay after that. So you'll need to go through this list and make sure that you have everything that you put in for substitutes. You'll see that there are some things that are full day, some things that are half day. Please make sure that you're paying attention to when the full days are and when the half days are. Aside from I was in the Gizmo grant and I wasn't in the Gizmo grant, everything else is required. None of these are optional. So if you meet the criteria for the people who are supposed to come to that particular training, then you need to come to that training and learn about the resource, because these are all about the resources that we've purchased for 7th and 8th grade. Going back to our Canvas page, we're going to look at, the next thing we're going to look at is the curriculums materials adoption. So we do have 2 new materials for both 7th and 8th grade, and then 7th grade has 1 additional resource. We have the Gizmos. So once again, that grant cohort are the people that were with us last year, and you should already have a login. I know there were some problems about the login, and they were supposed to fix that for us. So if it's still not fixed, just bear with me for a few more days and it'll get fixed up. At this point, you don't need to email your information to me because that time has passed. If you don't currently have a login, then you'll want to go to the link here and you'll want to go ahead and register under your school key code. If you want to be able to tell your kids in Canvas to have a lesson in Canvas that walks your kids through how to register the class, there is one that's in the Commons that looks like this. Otherwise, I would suggest doing it with your students, but there are directions on here about how to do that and how do you find the code that you give to your kids. It's really simple for your kids to go in and sign up. Just make sure that they only sign up one time. If the kid forgets their password, they need to let you know that they've forgotten their password, because they'll take up spaces in your license, and so we want to make sure that they're only in your class once. If you find that they're in there twice, you can delete. You have the ability to go in and delete. For Discovery Education, it's a single sign-on, and there's 2 different places where the single sign-on is available. One of them is in Canvas, so in your 7th or 8th grade course, you'll see this Discovery Education tab, and then when you click on that, when you're logged into one of your classes, it'll allow you to get into Discovery Education. It is linked to your Power Schools. So you're an instructor, if you're a teacher of record for a 7th and 8th grade or 8th grade science, then you have access to that. Unfortunately, co-teachers, if they're not a teacher of record in science, will not have access to this. And please do not share your portal password or anything like that with anyone, because that's like how you get into everything. So this resource is really for teachers who are instructors in science. The other way to get into it is through the portal. When you go into portal, there's a listing on the left-hand side that will either have a listing of district websites or it'll say district websites on there. If you don't see that, you'll click on the More button, and then it'll show up in the center of your screen under district websites, so you'll find Discovery Education there. Your students can get both ways. They can come through their Canvas course or they can go through portal. The one benefit to having your kids go through the portal is that it goes full screen for them. In Canvas, they'll have a smaller screen in there, but you can also do assignments in both, so you just kind of need to play around with it a little bit and see which way works best for you. For 7th grade, they did receive a new copy of the Earth History Kit, 2nd edition. Everyone should have that on their campus now, along with the chemical box. Make sure that your chemicals are stored appropriately and that they're not just, sitting in a cabinet somewhere, but we do need to store our chemicals appropriately. For your old boxes of what you have, I want you to go through and like strip out all the rocks and all the things that you could actually still use in your classroom. I want you to keep all of that kind of stuff. If there are things that you absolutely can't use at all, then go ahead and send that back to the Science Center, and they'll strip it down for parts. But we want to make sure that anything that you could use, that you take out, especially like the rock boxes, which the rocks are pretty much all the same from the first edition to the second edition. That gives you spares, just in case something happens to some of your rocks, or it can give you additional lab stations. So please make sure that you keep those things that you can still utilize. This professional development tab will take you back to the same tab here as the PD calendar. So another thing that I want to address with everyone is the fact that with your Chromebook carts, you need to have a plan for how you're going to distribute your Chromebooks, how you're going to keep track of them. Please limit the number of students that will log into an individual Chromebook, so by assigning a specific Chromebook to a specific student in each of your class periods. It helps to cut down on login problems, and it also helps with kind of tracking if there's issues that happen with that particular Chromebook. The Chromebooks should not leave your room. The Chromebooks were purchased through district monies to support the middle school science program only. Your digital resources are your primary resources, and the Chromebooks are how you access those resources. During your planning period, the Chromebooks should be plugged in so that they're charging for your next class period. They are not for use by a neighboring teacher or a special education teacher or anything like that. They're not extra. They're not free during your planning period. They are still assigned to your classroom. Campuses are individually responsible for those Chromebooks now that the district has purchased them, and if they break, the campus has to replace them. If they break, then you have one less computer for your student, or if they walk away, you have one less computer for your students to be able to access the curriculum during your class period. So please make sure that the Chromebooks stay in your room. The only exception will be during Ames testing, where 7th grade teachers might be asked to share their carts with 4th grade so that the 4th graders can take their Ames test. That is the only time that I will ask you to share your carts with anyone for any reason. There will be posted today in Canvas, there will be a sample of what you could use as a technology contract. If you already have one, that's fine. If your campus has worked one out, that's fine as well. Please just make sure that you have some sort of conversation with your students and some sort of written agreement with your students about how they will act with technology. They've already signed the district internet agreement form. This one's just more specific about how needs to be a little bit more specific about how they will utilize technology in your particular classroom. So like I said, that'll be posted in here, and there'll be a new tab down at the bottom by the end of the day today. Once you finish watching this video, there will be specific videos that go through assessment information for 7th grade, and then there'll be a separate video for 8th grade.